Howdy all, how are you all going? It's Goose. Been a while since you probably heard of me. I think at least 3 months since I've posted anything to do with the podcast. I had a few people message me actually over on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for checking in. You guys know who you are. Just obviously because I was posting every week, sometimes twice a week, and usually when I wasn't posting, I would post an update on my socials and all that. But yeah, no, I didn't this time. I thought I was going to take a long break, probably longer than what I thought. But thought I would jump on here to explain, like nothing serious. Appreciate the messages, like I said, but I reaffirmed to those people that everything's all good. Just kind of needed a break. There's kind of a few things that kind of all compiled to the decision why I'd take a break. I didn't announce it. It's not like I'm running a big podcast or anything like that, but I do appreciate the people reaching out. So I didn't see the need to post anything about taking a break or anything like that. I thought the people that would want to reach out, and then I knew that most people just wait and you'd hear something from me about continuing the podcast or discontinuing. So the question is, I will be continuing the podcast, but albeit with a few changes. I found it really, really hard and difficult to be posting new release movies every week, even though that's kind of what I wanted this channel to be, and also doing other things on the side like classic movie reviews and top 10 lists and all that type of stuff. But it got really, really hard because I only have a very small window every week to be able to go to the movies, and a lot of that has to fall into place. It has to be the movie I want to cover, has to be on the right time at the right day, and I don't like doing movie reviews so much later when I want to focus on the new releases. I thought, well, if I'm marketing myself as a new release movie reviewer, I need to be doing it as they come out, as they are new releases. And I'd done it a few times where they'd been out a few weeks and they'd already released on VOD and all that. Like, I really wanted to be reviewing movies that literally come out the day of. And it worked there for a period. I was able to literally go to the movies when they came out here on the Thursday. In the afternoon, I'd record it the Thursday night. I'd then edit it and I'd publish the Friday night. That seemed to work to a degree. They got really hard. I was doing movies that were a few weeks to months old, and it just wasn't quite the same. And I thought, kind of need to remarket myself and kind of change everything around if I'm going to continue, because I'm not going to be able to continue what I was doing and wanted to do, which was, like I said, do the weekly new release movie reviews. In saying that, not sure exactly when I'll be back posting regularly, but I thought I'd post this and we'll go from there. I think it's going to be a big change of things on here. I will still be doing new release movie reviews if they work, if they fit. If it's a movie I want to cover and the session time is literally in the time frame, that I can see it, and it's within that first week of being a new release, then I'll record it and I'll post it. Like, that's no problem. You have Alien Romulus coming out this week, and you have the Borderlands movie, which I think I've missed that window now because we're not getting that for a few weeks here. And I think most people would have already kind of, passed that ship now with the bad reviews and, the review bombing coming out with that film. And also Trap is coming out, but like I said, that's already been out a few weeks. And the thing about Australian releases, we do sometimes tend to get the smaller market movies later. And then in my small town, we get it even later, or we don't get it at all. Then I have to rely on watching it on VOD or on a streaming service, all depending. And that gets very, very hard and annoying. But yeah, Alien Romulus, look, if I can get the time to see that this week, then there could be a review of I keep saying Alien Romulus, but that's not actually the new Alien. I'm pretty sure that was a previous one. The new Alien movie, anyway, that's coming out this week. I'm very keen for it. Excuse me for stuffing up the name there. But yeah, look, if that fits in that time window, there should be a new release movie review this weekend. But we'll wait and see what happens. The session times don't get released until tomorrow afternoon, evening. But yeah, I'll stop rambling and kind of get to the point more. This channel is going to change. This podcast / channel is going to change a lot. Look, I wanted to do a lot more YouTube exclusive like videos, like I'd done the ranking all the Disney movies and all that. That's just too hard. It's just too much work to plan it, edit it. A lot more work goes into them, and the planning is very, very hard. It's not just watching a movie, taking notes as I watch the movie, and then I'll review it, and then I just edit the podcast. It's so much easier doing it that way. But I do tend for all my podcasts to be visual as well as just the usual audio podcast. So across Amazon, Spotify, and YouTube will be the visual podcast. And yeah, look, I tend to be doing different things like top 10 lists, top 5 lists, reviewing movies, reviewing older movies, which, that would be a lot easier because then I can watch them whenever I want. I can record them, I can bank them then, and then I can release them when I want to. It's, that's not time constrained at all. So that would be a lot easier. And look, I've always wanted to have guests on here as well, and it's so much easier to have guests on here when we're talking about things that aren't time relative, so the new release movies. I mean, we could, but I just don't want to get sucked into that thing again. But yeah, look, I've got a few people lined up on the podcast here, and I will be having guests on here. It's something I've always wanted to do. Something I've always advertised. So that will be happening. This year. Don't know exactly what we'll be covering. If it's new release movie reviews or doing our own top 10 list, that could be fun. But I've got quite a few people lined up. So if you're someone else that wants to get into podcasting or does have a podcast and there's a certain movie that you want to record a podcast for, but you want someone to have an actual discussion with, hit me up. I love being on other people's podcasts. It's been a while since I have been, but very much looking forward to it. If someone is out there is willing to join in, otherwise I'm looking forward to ones I've already set up. Yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of everything. Is that I will be unfortunately shying away from the weekly new release movies that I was able to do for a period of time, which I'm very happy and thankful for the responses to. And I have quite a few people that just obviously get curious about numbers and what were the popular episodes and, what episodes got me the most new followers and blah, 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 blah. I don't reveal too much of that stuff because I don't want to come off as bragging because I'm still a very small podcast and some episodes bomb, some episodes do surprisingly well. But I appreciate all the love and support anyway. Answering people's questions over on YouTube, by far the most popular in terms of not only clicks, views, but also retention was actually immaculate, which was very surprising because it was quite a biggish movie in the horror community. Being outside of that, it wasn't very well known at all. It's got Sydney Sweeney in it, which might help outside people get their eyes on it. But that was very, very surprising. That did really well. Sorry, with the views. So did the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Those were two that did really, really well on YouTube in terms of all those aspects, but didn't do overly that well on actual podcasts. Whereas I think Zone of Interest was the first one that kind of popped off. It did really, really well on Spotify and quite good on Amazon Music as well. But the one that I think is clear most popular horror was Baghead, surprising. I think it must have had a streaming release or a VOD release in a certain country in Europe because my European numbers about 7 weeks after I'd actually recorded it and posted it, there was a big spike in listeners and retention and new followers and stuff. So that was quite surprising. But overall, for people that desperately want to know, Civil War is by far my best performing episode I've done on here in terms of clicks, listens, retentions, followers I've got from that specific episode across Amazon, YouTube Music, Spotify, and on YouTube itself as well. So yeah, much love. And I'm still really, really working hard on getting my podcast on Apple Podcasts. I have so many people ask me that they only listen to podcasts on Apple Podcasts, and they want mine to be on there. And Apple is very difficult to deal with in terms of emails, passwords, all that type of stuff. It's really annoying. It's really difficult. So I am trying, I promise. But yeah, that's about it for me. I just want to jump on here and just ramble as I do and just give a channel update on where I've been, what I've been doing. And yeah, there's quite a few aspects of, like I said earlier, about the timing for the new release movies. It was also, I got really busy at that point in time. I had a lot of family-like things on. I wanted to catch up with mates. I was doing some fishing, just to clear my head. And like, it's really, everyone's got their mental health thing. Like mine's kind of gaming and also fishing. Like fishing is something that I recommend to a lot of people. Even though you're not good at it, I'm not good at it. It's really relaxing depending if you can get down to the river or the ocean somewhere quiet away from other people. So I was doing a lot of that stuff and I feel a lot better now and feel like I'm focused. And I really want to jump back into podcasting. And there's also the stuff up with Buzzsprout. I love using Buzzsprout. I'll stick with them. It's nothing against them, but their costing was quite expensive as well. I was only going to not do this for a few weeks, and it was just more financially viable to kind of cut off Buzzsprout for a few months or a couple of months, and then jump back on when I was ready. And I've now jumped back on. So thanks to Buzzsprout for being very helpful with regaining my episodes, because I don't know if you noticed, but a few episodes would have gone missing for a few weeks. Excuse me, because I had cut the finance side of it, so they obviously stopped hosting some of my episodes, but they're all there now. They're all available if you want to go back and listen to any. But in terms of that, that's pretty much just, it was an amalgamation of a few things. But look, and I had a few people that were asking me about Goose Talks Wrestling, my wrestling podcast. I want to jump back into that too, but I'm going to push that to the side and focus on this. It's no point splitting my attention between two things that I've got to kind of restart again. So I'm focusing on this. I've also got Goose of All Trades, which was like my main podcast channel where I kind of talked and covered anything like in the world that was interesting that I wanted to talk about, that I had guests on, interviews, all that type of stuff. That's also in the future as well. I want to jump back into that because that gives me a lot more broader and different things, and that also widens my audience. It widens the type of guests I can have on this show as well. Sorry, on Goose of All Trade show. And I always want to do a video game channel as well, but that's something deep down in the pipeline in the future. Like I said, I don't want to muddy the water. I don't want to try and do too many things at once, but I'm a big gamer. I love gaming. I love streaming, as you see on my socials. Everything to do with the gaming and movies, and sport as well. But sport would be covered on Goose of All Trades. But they're all things down the pipeline as well. I might do like a crossover episode where I talk about video game movies. It's something I'm very passionate about, and I've got a few people that I haven't hit up yet, but I would love to hit them up to join me on the podcast as well. So, that's it. I'll stop rambling. Just wanted to give you guys an update, and thanks everyone for sticking around. I surprisingly didn't lose any subscribers/followers on any of my channels. So thank you so much for that, considering I haven't posted in a few months. I know Twitch is very different. If you don't go live for a few weeks, you lose a lot of people. So it's a very different world that I'm kind of wrapping my head around after only really knowing this type of stuff through streaming and YouTube. So thanks again, guys. That'll be me done, and I really, really appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. Good. But I found the button. Sorry, punch the microphone. What a great way to end it. Goodbye.